of traders on Binance. And it's developed as a spot trading algorithm that's meant to be, as low risk as possible, really. But when you look at Bitcoin could, double to triple, Solana's doubled just to get to all-time highs, not even into new territory, right?
Yep. Well, I just got him set up on Phantom Wallet and got him his first Solana, so we're halfway there to that end.
Nice.
So now
yeah, but I mean, if you're talking about a guy that's more traditional investment style and not as fucking degen as us, that may be a way to present it. Is like look at the growth potential and then look at the performance of the contract.
And I can still show is the chart back, like the buy and sell?
Yes, you can see
it just isn't giving the data, not the exact information. So you can see what it did, but you can't read into the secret sauce, as Andy said.
That's totally perfect. That's fine. Thanks, guys. All right, man. Fucking Rumpty, take it away, brother.
Yo, what's up? What's up, fam? So this is just something that we're starting up. This is going to be just modes and dregs spaces on Tuesdays and Thursdays are kind of like a class where they're going to lead on different levels of how to think about trading and different mentalities of trading. On Mondays we're looking at there's a little bit of a structure. So the first time we host it every month is going to be kind of a Cyber Frogs 101, where people can come, especially new frogs, geared towards new frogs, to ask any questions to help remove friction from their understanding of what is going on. Since there's, as we all know, there's a ton of pieces that's going on in frogs, and it's all dope as fuck, but it can be overwhelming. So when they come in, this will be kind of the step through, and I will just like go through the website, go through the tabs, just talk a little bit on each tab. But this Cyber Dojo is really, you'll have some structure for that, but it's going to be a lot of like, everyone is a student within the dojo. There is no teacher, right? We're all here to learn together. I'll have some concepts and things lined up for to just hear, because we've got some absolute chads in this community, and I love hearing all the perspectives. So it's just kind of like it's just an area for us to all learn together and kind of break down that wall of no stupid questions, and allow people to gain their confidence as we're moving into the bull market, because this is an exciting time. And to have I can speak from experience, to have my home-based Discord for my, quote unquote safe space to be able to ask questions. That's where real growth can come from. So that's kind of one of the main focuses of this Monday space. But wanted to check with Veloci if we were good to go. A little AI, a little water drop or some type of sound. I know it's gonna like pop in my ear. I was just making sure before. Yeah. Just so I know that, we are good to go, so I can share my screen, and that way you can just step through, because I know a lot of you homies, I see all of you, a lot of you are going to know, but since this is recorded, it's for people to also have a visual, because I'm a visual person. Don't get me wrong, I love when I come into a project and would get the at of like, here's all the information, just read it, because that would be a lot easier to do stuff. But some people absorb it in different ways, so that can be overwhelming. So this is more of just like a forum to kind of show how to step through the website currently, and then we'll just shoot the shit after, talk about some crypto. I know there's a lot of speculation on some big moves today that happen within Cyber Frogs. So that's going to be fun to hear some theory crafting and see what you guys have thought about. So let me share my screen. Anybody got to like start while I'm looking this up?
I love how you said theory crafting. You can tell you're a real fucking MMO nerd.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the gaming is going to come out, man.
That's good shit.
All right, let's see. Let me share my screen so then you can actually see my wallet interaction. So just in case, this is like square zero. Square zero. Okay. So obviously, a lot of you guys know what's up, but as you can see, which I saw earlier today, we have a timer. So timer counting down from April 7th until April 7th at, of course, 4:20, naturally. And that is going to be super exciting to see what the fuck that is. So I will be watching this and having ridiculous levels of anticipation.
What day does that end, buddy?
April 7th. So
that's
that is
after NFT NYC, isn't it? It's like 2 days after.
I think so. Actually, it might be right before. I think it might be right before. Yeah, I think the NFT NYC is in the teens, I believe.
I thought it was the 3rd to the 5th. It was like in the middle of the
right
week.
now. NFT NYC. Yep, there it is. So right after that, the 3rd through the 5th.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, this website's going to update, and I have a feeling frogs are going to fuck even more than what they already fuck.
So what you're saying is that there could be an update during NFT NYC, right? Like an announcement there?
I am not confirming nor denying, but I would imagine.
I will say there will be.
Yes.
And it may be may be fairly, it may be a nice platform, let's say. I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Wait. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so we're going to see what's up with that. I'm excited to see what comes from NFT NYC, and seeing this countdown right here has got me bricked. So
all I'll say is boom.
Oh, shit. Bet. Okay, so, obviously a lot of you guys, if you don't, you have Phantom. You would log into your Phantom, so then you have your wallet. So then if you're trying to connect your wallet, let's say you just bought a frog off Magic Eden, that might actually be something to go through at some point. But you've got your frog, so now you want to do your wallet, you click Phantom, it'll give you guys can see the transactions, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So then you'll connect. So it's just connecting your wallet to the actual website so it can read your wallet and display that you own a Cyberfrog. So you'll be able to view these tabs, but they'll have different weight for certain ones if you own a frog. So you connect your wallet and then you have the dashboard. And so I would assume to not get too attached to how this looks. Because you saw the construction site on the front page, but that being said, this is just like a good initial page to just give you the rundown of certain pieces of what's going on in frogs. So you have the soul price, your Kira price, which that's been a little volatile today with all these changes, which is exciting. It has the Cyberfrog floor price and the actual supply of frogs, which we'll go into a little bit during the trait swap aspect. So you'll see why there's 1,133 burned frogs. So it'll show you how many frogs you have staked. This is just a wallet that I have. I moved an extra frog in just to show today an estimated value of what you have with your frogs. So that's dependent. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. I believe that's dependent on like the traits that are listed on Magic Eden. For certain traits, it puts that value. That's why you see 26 soul. That doesn't mean it's going to sell at that. That's just the estimated value of what is listed. So then you have your total value lock. That's essentially your estimated value in USD value. And then Kira, it'll show you when you're staking, which staking is over. I'll talk more about that when we get to the other tab. But if you did get your frog staked before, I believe it was like the 6th or the 7th, it's something like early January, you can no longer stake after that. So that's where you can see how much Kira. But there was actually a huge update today, which we will talk about also, which is exciting yet. We're going to see how that plays out. So, but that's the initial dashboard. So then we can kind of just step down. So rarity, you know, that's everybody who's been in NFTs for a while understands you have rarities, you have different rarities, you have different levels of rarity on traits. So obviously when it gets comboed together, it impacts the rarity. So this was one way that the supply actually was crunched, because you have another tab where you can have the frog machine. So I'll just go ahead and, so the rarity, you can search for your rarity, you can find your frog. But the frog machine is where you can take 2 frogs. So you have 1 frog, and this will show your frogs, and this is the frog you want to keep. You have the second frog. So say you bought a second frog and you really like the traits. It has a crown on it and whatever, some other traits on it. So you can then choose it. And then when you go to choose traits, it doesn't show it. I don't have Red Kira or anything in my other one. I could show you, but it'll show both, and you can select the traits. Actually, I think I can switch over to my main wallet and show. I think I have a Red Kira token in there, and show at least the UI. But it'll have on the left, it'll have your frog, so your first keep, and on the second, or on the right, it'll have the other frog. And then you get to choose your select your traits and mix them, and it burns the second one. So that was one of the ways, and you used to be able to upgrade your frogs into different tiers, but a lot of that's been gotten rid of now. The only way to upgrade a frog at this point to a beta is mixing it with a V2 weapon. So that's kind of like a lead into, we have a trait marketplace. So the trait marketplace, which right now, you know, everyone around is saying you're going to want to faction your frogs. The factions are police, Yakuza, and Ronin. You are going to want your frog to have a faction. We don't know why exactly, but we've heard it in many different ways where you're going to wish that you did it. So, not financial advice, do your own research. Choose one that you identify with. Is there any differences other than what you feel like you identify with? No, but police are better. So, you know, you can take that and store it in the bank. But, so this is a trait marketplace. So these are the Red Kira tokens. These are like red looking eyes. So what I was saying with the frog machine. So if you get a Red Kira token, you buy one of those Red Kira tokens, and say your frog is already factioned. You bought it and it was police. So now it's police, and you can't faction it. Well, actually, you might be able to refaction it. Someone can correct me. I don't think you can. Maybe you can. Does anybody know that?
Yeah, you can refaction a frog.
Refaction it. So you just pay it again and it changes it again. Okay.
Yep.
So you can do that. But with a Red Kira token, there are certain traits that are upgradable. So you can see that in the dressing room tab. So if you come to the dressing room tab, you can then just see what a frog is going to look like in the dressing room. So you could, if you wanted to search a frog, you can just take the number and put it right there. It makes it easier to see what it's going to look like. But I'm just going to select this frog. And so then it allows me to see, and you can change to any of them. Like, you know, I want whatever, police, bloody robe. So what the Red Kira token does is when you're doing the frog machine, you keep your first frog. The second one, you're going to choose the Red Kira token. And so it's going to burn the Red Kira token. And when it burns the Red Kira token, what that allows you to do is, if your frog is factioned, it allows you to, I've got one running. Let me go to the draft. It allows these faction trait upgrades to be changed. So say if you had a Yakuza frog and it had 2 Yakuza traits, but you wanted the police headset, you know, the police headphones, you could burn a Red Kira token and swap out those headphones for the police headphones if you want. So it just allows you to customize your frog even more. And that costs 1,000 Kira also, and the red Kira token to do that. So that's one of the things you can get on the trait marketplace. There's also a lot of generous whales in the community. If you're just hanging around and talking and shooting the shit, they may just be like, hey, first 3 people that respond to me gets a red Kira token. And so then you could, I've made some sick upgrades with red Kira tokens when I was getting mine early on. So other than that, you see that there's these normal green frogs. It's all the same frog, but all the weapons are the weapons are what you're looking at. So these are V2 weapons. And anytime you take one of these V2 weapons and you do the same exact thing as the red Kira in the same place. So you choose your frog, you go, you click this weapon, and then you can choose the weapon and it will put the weapon on your frog. When you do that, you make a beta frog. So you're just a quick rundown. The main difference for a trait right now is beta and alpha. So you have your frog count, right? Which you can do hashtag TIER in the normal chat, and you'll be able to see all the different tiers of what you get for how many frogs you own. The frog count is dependent. That's what unlocks your different ability, accesses within the frogs. So frog count is important, and your frog count can obviously, depending on the price, you can get relatively cheap betas, and they're 1.5 frogs. So if you get 2 cheap betas, you now have 3 frog count instead of having to buy 3 frogs off the floor. So there's a little bit of like a gamification to it. And then there's alpha frogs. Alpha frogs count for 2. So that was one of the biggest reasons that are one of the biggest like trait differences that I wanted to explain, because especially with the factions ending and the trait swapping, all this is ending. There are these weapons, and these weapons can make you a beta frog. So if you do the math, you may be able to add half a frog for less than half of what the frog costs on the floor. Then it's worth it, depending on what your strategy is, on how you want to get your frog count up, if you want to. And that's one of the best parts too, is a lot of the stuff here in frogs, you don't even need a frog to interact with it. Like,
just like alpha frogs, there's a cutoff coming, so you won't be able to make betas anymore unless some new mechanic is introduced. But I have a feeling, speculator's going to speculate here. Betas are going to be very limited, and the price is very thin right now on the floor for betas. And these weapons got swept up yesterday or in the past few days. So do with that what you will.
Yeah, and I agree, because I'm speculating too as well. Like I don't know for me, like what is going on, and I'm thinking the same thing, because if you take away trait swapping, well, now there's no more like shifting rarity, theoretically. And to your point, you can't make any more betas, so do with it what you will. Exciting stuff, to be honest. But there's a lot of the different weapons. Those are the V2 weapons. Like I said, you use it in the same way as you do the red Kira, and you can make your frog into a beta frog and make your forever frog. So just to go over the staking, because there was some, the big announcements today. If you didn't see them, well, now you're gonna. So just go and look in the announcements. I believe it was the major announcements. Yeah, it was major announcements. The TLDRs, the tokenomics are changing for Kira. Kira has been seen in many forms throughout our journey as Cyber Frogs. It's now time to evolve further and move it into its new cycle. Because of this, all staking emissions will be unlocked. And trust me, bro, NFT mentors and holders at the time will now have a claimable allocation via the staking website. And so if you go and look in your actual tipping and claim, So like I said, this is I just made this account to show you guys, but it would show the actual amount, and it's going to say TMB, and it's going to give you an amount. And I believe it was 11K per TMB of Kira. So if you had Cyberfrog staked, they're still going to be locked, but you can now claim all of your Kira that you were going to get, which is wild. Thank you, team. Seriously, crazy. But this is where you would look. So on staking, you can come and you can click the tipping and claim, and it will show. This is also where, if you didn't know, I wanted to say, because I feel like a lot of people don't know, is, Sile and co have made an awesome way to tip with your Kira out of this tipping wallet. So if you type into the actual chat, !tip space the number that you want to put in Kira, which there's 100 max. You do tip space. So Fihu just did it if you want to look. And thank you, Fihu. But you can put the number up to 100, and then you at the person that you want to tip. So you can actually tip people through the Discord, and it takes it from your tipping wallet and puts it into theirs. Pretty neat. So like while we're watching Mode do his shit for trading or market flow, while we're watching Dregs, if Xander comes in and drops, gifts like the Goaty is, just send him a little Kira. It's a cool way to be able to send some value to your fellow frogs through the Discord.
It's one of the best features in the Discord, in my opinion. When a new member comes in and everyone says welcome, and then tips them a bunch of Kira, and they're like, what is this? What is it? What's going on right now? It's amazing. It's quite the feeling, and I think it really helps acclimate people to your community like so much quicker.
For sure. I remember like, not even to like call you out or anything, Fihu, but I remember you went through your troubling times, and Kira was like pumping, and I remember joining, and the Frog fam was just fucking yeeting Kira, bro. It was awesome to see. Like, it's like, man, I just had the shit of terrible like decision, all the stuff. It's unfortunate, but then it's just, we just galvanized. It's like you galvanize with your community, and nothing's gonna stop you then. It's like, I've got my family, they back me up. Like, I'm gonna ride with these motherfuckers.
It's incredible, man. I got scammed. I've said it to you before, and I've said it to Mode and a few of the others. If it wasn't for the way the frogs showed up, and probably would have just packed it all in after a couple of years in the space and just been done with it. The fact that people selflessly gave their Kira, even when staking was ending, everybody was just blowing Kira all over the place. They didn't care. They just wanted to see everybody like having a good time, smiling, laughing. Like it was great. And people really picked me up when I was down. And I was only here for like 2 weeks or something at that point. And everybody like came together and tipped me some Kira and stuff. So it's truly an incredible community.
Yeah, we're lucky to have you in here, man. You being in here, you've brought in so many names. I see it all the time. That's a testament to you. It's a testament to the frogs, where you felt like it was worthy of being able to go and like my saying, which we hear it a lot too, is like, I don't need to shill frogs. I just need to share it. I don't feel the need to shill it. I literally just need to tell people about it. And a critical thinking brain is like, wait a second, I can put my money in here and it makes me more money, or like won't let me DJ my shit and protect it that way. Like it mitigates your risk while accumulating it. There's so many things. It's not even mentioning the community behind it too, which is one of the best aspects, which is, even cringe to say it, is because it's just been overused, but it's true. It's the truth. Is Cyberfrog's community, they fuck because they stick together and they help each other, and there's no dumb questions, and it allows for that safe space, and the safe space allows for growth. And that's one of the things we're trying to do with this Cyber Dojo, as well as Mode. Thank God for that dude. He's broken down so many walls for me in trading and the way that I optimize my DCAs and everything. So it's just being able to like try and give back at least some of that and then allow this space to be, no pressure zone for new froggies to join and ask their questions. So let me make sure.
We're all gonna make it.
We all gonna make it. Make sure I didn't skip over any of the tiers. We talked about the tier counts. We had the betas and the alphas. Oh, one thing I did want to mention was if you're thinking about it and you're on the edge of 5 frog count, so that that could be 2 betas and 2 regular frogs, or 2 alphas and 1 normal frog. This, however you get to 5. 5 unlocks the Degen shitcoins chat, which is one of the best chats, trading and or Degen mentality / the irony of it being called degenerate shitcoins, which, don't get me wrong, there's some degenerate shitcoin trading in there, but there are some fucking trading chads in that chat, man. You can learn so much.
There's some degenerate shits too, but just saying.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, that's like I prefaced that with saying there's definitely some degeneracy. I mean, the name alone, degenerate shitcoins, but you can talk with Sile in there. You can get a lot of stuff, man. It's a lot of value to be had with different tiers.
I'm sorry.
That you can.
Rumpty.
Yeah.
What is this? This is if you have 5 frogs, not just you got a discount with AutoThor, but you get something else and access to a chat?
Yeah, so there's actually a 5 frog tier count chat called Degenerate Shitcoins. Degenerate Shitcoin Traders. Excuse me. But yeah, once you have that role and you link your wallet the same as you've done like on the CyberFrog website, it will give you access in the Discord to that chat. And there's people in there like, the GOAT Degen himself. I love him, Banana. That dude is in the weeds sometimes, but you can talk to him. You could learn how to, like, I've seen Matt talking about how do I learn how to do optimize my leverage trading, and people are in there like putting in time, like typing out full paragraphs for you to get a better hold of whatever you're asking. It's another layer in of a chat, right, for trading and some of the holders who have your 5 frog counter or more.
It's one of the best channels in all of Discord. Yeah. All of Discord and NFTs and trading is the shit.
Yeah.
I had no idea. Do Thordinals count on that, or is it just the Solana ones?
Let me see. I just did the tier because I knew that you were going to ask.
No idea.
Yeah.
I think Ordinal just Salami message saying just Salami. Okay.
Yeah, as far as I know, it's just cyber frogs that count.
Okay.
But I'm not sure.
Yeah, I can verify.
5 Ordinals gets access. Yeah, I would also say I got access as I only had 5 Ordinals. So yeah.
Okay, so you have 5 and you don't. You're saying, or you do?
No, I had first 5 Ordinals, and I thought I had then access. Now I also have 5 Cyberfrog, so I cannot prove it. Yeah.
Yeah, I got what you're saying. Because you're Bullfrog. Yeah. Okay, yeah, no, I can talk with like Maz or see if I can get you an answer on that for Thordinals. I believe it's just Solana frogs, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay, cool. But thanks for sharing that. I honestly had no idea, and I've had a cyberfrog for like 3 months now. I didn't know that was a benefit. So, hey, good job, Rumpty. Thanks.
Yeah, we did something. Yeah, hope you're well, K10. Let's see. So I had the tier counts, betas, the shitcoins. Okay, how betas are made. Yep, we talked about that. Traits. And yeah, obviously the burning of the frogs, that is a deflationary mechanism on frogs where it's taking the supply of frogs down as you burn them. We have the faction missions, which they are ending. We don't know when they're ending, but we're being told to do it as soon as possible. So don't wait. Would be my financial advice. If you're gonna do it, don't wait. Let's see, you got the new UI, which I did want to talk about the UI on this. Let me go to the tab of the faction missions. So I won't be able to see it because I've actually got one going because I don't have enough time. I'm trying to get them all done. But when you come into this, what up, man? How you doing, Young? So this is just, it will give you 3 different buttons down here where you can choose your faction: police, Yakuza, Ronin. And with this new UI that you have now, because you used to have to go to the dressing room and look and see what was upgradable. And now what the team has done is when you click police, it's going to show you what your frog, when you select it on the right, is going to look like when you upgrade them. So you can see what they're going to look like before you change it. And so the traits that will change, just to reiterate, are the faction upgradable traits that you can find in the dressing room. So you go to the dressing room tab, and it's this faction trait upgrade list. So the name of the actual trait is on the left, and all the upgrades for the OG. So the OG is on the left, and then you have Ronin, Yakuza, Police. So you can see what they would look like. But one of the great updates of the faction mission is when you do click police, it will automatically show you what can be upgraded, and it upgrades it to all police. And this takes roughly 24 hours for it to complete your faction addition and your metadata, which will update your actual metadata on your NFT and give it the trait as well for your faction. And then you're going to be ready for whatever's coming, which, seeing how many times it's been said we should faction our frogs, I would highly suggest that you faction your frog. Okay, so we talked about the trait marketplace. We talked about the red Kira. So one of the last, but very not least, things is the decks. So Sile and Co, they built a dex. So you're looking at how I get Kira. You can either use this dex, or you could use different dexes like Bird Eye or Jupiter to acquire your Kira. One thing about this dex is I believe this is what's being listed by the users of frogs are listing here. So you can always check it just to see what the price is. And I'm going to do a little bit more of a, not this time, but like a little more specific on how to load this up, actually how to use the dex. Because if you want to use this dex, it's kind of hard to initially figure out. So I want to do like a little walkthrough on that, but I wasn't prepared to walk through that today. Just more talk about it. So if you're wanting to do it right now and you can't figure out Kira on this, then use Jupiter or Bird Eye for now. And then I'll be looking into making a navigation video on how you can actually use this dex. But so there was, and I believe not just in the dex, there is, I was trying to find the wormhole, like the bridge. So there's a bridge, and I thought it was under here.
No, it's an AutoStore.
Oh, it's an AutoStore. Okay, thank you.
There's a swap and bridge.
Thank you, Abby.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so I guess we'll just walk right into the AutoStore since we're already here. So this is the AutoStore page. So you have 2 contracts, or you have 2 uses of Thor. You have manual and you have auto. Auto is your auto trader. So its goal is to accumulate, which if you want more specifics on these trading on manual and auto Thor, I highly suggest that you come to the 2 different time periods of market flow with mode. I believe it's 7 p.m. on Tuesdays and 10 a.m. on Thursdays EST. Is that right, Mode? I believe that's
Correct.
Right. And then Dregs, I think, is at 7 p.m. on Thursdays. So 7 p.m. EST. And they will go more into detail on specifics on the auto contract, how it's working, manual calls, how to look at them, how to manage your risk, all of those specific things. I highly suggest to come and listen to them. I've learned so much. I can't even thank them enough for how much I've learned. But so this is just kind of a broad overview of how to actually start a contract. So you don't need a frog to use the AutoThor. If you have one frog, you pay less in your taxes on profits. So if you get one frog, you'll pay 15% versus 20% if you're a non-frog holder, which there are some other communities that give discounts, which I don't have a list of in front of me. There are quite a few. I think the biggest discount that you'll get, I believe, is Degen Ape Academy, and I think that's 3% off. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. But you get the most by owning a frog. So with that, do that what you will. You know, the way I play it is, you're going to put more into Thor, more into AutoThor, you are ideally going to want to lower those taxes, because over time, depending on how much money you put in AutoThor, the difference that you make would pay in saving it on the fees. You could like buy another frog with the fees you would save over time, or just put it back into the contract and keep, making the wave get bigger. So, but here I just wanted to have like a simple, demonstration. Say you had $1,000 you wanted to put in. So you see, I put 1,000, and it's telling me, it automatically it tells you the ratio, and it automatically tells you exactly how much SOL and exactly how much USDC that you're going to need to start this contract. And if you add this up, that is $1,000. So what this is doing is it's dividing this 1,000 to match the current holdings of the AutoThor contract itself. So that's why you get 5.547 SOL right now with $174.66. And that together adds up to the 1,000. There is no longer a Kira fee, so the team has removed friction even more for people to come in. They, you don't want to make it any harder for people to use your thing. It's just, just this, but this, okay. And so they added two other time periods. Thank you, team. I love you, and so does my wallet. I'm going to be loading up my next. I think I have 30 days left, something like that, on my first big contract that I started at the beginning of this year, and I will most definitely be rolling that into the 180 at minimum, because I wanted to do a whole year of AutoThor just doing its thing and see where it's at the end of the year. But so I just wanted to show, 1,000, or if you put 10,000, whatever it is, it's going to tell you exactly what you need. And it says at the top right here, it's kind of small for you guys. Maybe I could zoom in a little bit. So it's minimum $99. So it's minimum 100. So you put 100 in is your minimum, and it'll tell you exactly what you need to be able to start your contract. And that's kind of cool. I see this down here at the bottom. Since I have one frog with me, it's telling me my holder tax on profit is 15%. So that, I just wanted to walk through the UI of how you go about starting a contract. And then just to give a quick rundown, this is your average Thor stats, so your average user P&L at 54%. The total value locked, Woot Woot broke over 3 mil, which is just insanity, because I feel like it was in November. We were at like 500,000 or something ridiculous. And now it's over 3 million, which is just insane, and a testament to the team who started with, I don't know, $1,500, which is like a frog price in US dollar right now. And they have 3 million in a contract, not even touching the fact that the frogs are worth 5 SOL at 140, 50 SOL. Yeah.
Dude, you want to know another fucking absolutely crazy metric about the contract?
Yeah. Hit me.
That nearly 2/3 of that is profit to those that put in. That's not just 3 million that people have locked up. It's 3 million in there, but about 2/3 of that is profit to the users that have entered it. So let's fucking go.
That is, yeah. See, those are the
That's an insane
statistics,
metric.
bro.
Not many know.
Yeah, those are the statistics that we want to like bring together and then highlight. You know, it's crazy when you hear stuff like that, and because it's like Andy's. I remember hearing him say once, like, if you've been around in Soul, you've heard of cyber frogs. If you're really into Soul NFTs, you know they're a D-rug. But there's a lot of people who don't even know that it's a D-rug. And the fact that we are where we are, and this was not the initial idea, and they, this was like grab the pieces and put it together and we're going. I can only imagine when they bring it all together in a holistic, sphere that was made by them, not some other people's shit. And then you mix in Thor. Right? It's like Mode has this saying that's always, rung true for me in this space, and it's don't bet on the horse, bet on the jockey. Because if the horse gets sick for the race, the team can find another horse. I know that's not ideal to find another horse in that, but you get the saying. And I have no quarrels with betting on the jockey that is Andy and Sile and co. Because then they have the community, like, how we have people in this community riding with them, having this Thor printing like it is, providing the value that it is, the market flow knowledge that you can get, that people pay, $100, $50, $100, $200 a month to be able to get those types of lessons. And you don't even have to own a frog to even access those things. It's just the value alone from what you get. And that's not even owning a frog. So definitely when you own a frog is it's something to behold. It truly is. So, stepping through this, that's why we wanted to step through the website, try and help alleviate as much friction as we can, because there's so many cool pieces. But when you add so many cool pieces, eventually people who come in, especially if they're new to crypto as well, they might get overwhelmed and just turn away, right? So we're just trying to help lower that barrier to entry where they can understand a little more. And then just to quickly go over, here's some metrics for the current positionings of the AutoThor contract itself. So you have your Sol USDC, which the pie chart's small, but I can zoom in so you can see it. USDC is 17%. Your Sol is your 1%. B Sol is 74%. So one of the things that Thor is really doing, which like I said, I'm not going to delve very far into Thor, but it is an automated DeFi protocol. So while it's making you money, you can see the greens are buys, the reds are sells. As it's buying, in between its buys and sells, it is staking. So it's swapping it into staking, it's earning staking rewards, and then it's swapping back out and it's making moves with it. So it's automated DeFi on top of a auto trader that's accumulating you Sol as Sol dips, which is just, that's right up my alley. I have always wanted more Sol. I believed in Sol since I came from ETH when it first started, and haven't left, and have more conviction now than I ever even thought I would have. So
fuck ETH.
But it is wild, and a testament to the team, because they did remove the buys of AutoThor, so they did bring it back. Shout out to Maz, much love. But they brought it back because a lot of the community did love to see the track record, right, of the buys and the sells. There is a middle ground there where you don't want to be giving away, and I liked how Andy called it the secret sauce, because you don't want to be giving away your secret sauce if it's really good sauce. You don't want to be like walling it behind a bunch of money, but you don't also want to be like, oh, right? So you can capitalize. If you do something well, you don't do it for free, and so when they took it away, it was like bittersweet, but I understood why. But now they brought it back, because what I will say for me is when I am talking to, people who are not in Web3, I show them this chart and they understand green and red. And they're like, wait a second, this doing what? While you're sleeping? While you're living? Yeah. While I'm sleeping, while I'm living, while I'm doing anything else. It takes the emotion out of trading. And it accumulates more of your asset that you want as it's dropping. And it's also, oh yeah, what's up, man?
I just wondered about if reconciliation is live with the moves in and out of B-Sol, if that shows automatically in your balance, or is there a 4-hour reconciliation for that? And also, you can see the buys and sells, the amounts, and when it does, I believe the times are lower on the page there. But is there any way to see the moves and amounts in B-Sol that are in and out?
Yeah, I don't think there's any way to see the amount of B-Sol. And we used to have where you would be able to see the amounts that it did.
Yeah, that's gone.
So that was one of the kind of give and takes that the team gave back, right? They gave us the chart to show us the buys and sells as a track record, but it's not showing you how much it bought. It's not saying when exactly it bought. You can see it on the day.
Sure.
But and the time, but
I thought was a little peculiar is that it seemed relatively small. Amounts of the buys were like 30 and 40 SOL. It didn't ever seem like hundreds of SOL in these increments. Is that pretty normal from the
yes
pool?
Yeah, so as it's making its moves, like before it went away, I would be watching the trades and it would trade, max like, 10 or 11, $12,000 trade. There's 3 million in the contract. So like that's like a 0.02%, it's like very minuscule. But what it's doing is it's accumulating and mitigating risk, so it has firepower whichever direction that SOL goes, right? If it goes up a bunch, it still has a bunch to capitalize with. If it goes down, it didn't overbuy and it's like, oh, I just don't have money right now, not going to buy. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for answering my question.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so any other questions? And like I said, for specifics, which those are great questions, for specific questions on AutoThor and Manual Thor, which I'll just give a brief overview of Manual Thor, just so it's talked about. Oh yeah, what's up?
I learned that once you open that 90-day contract, if you get some other liquidity that you would like to lock up and put on top of it, I found that I was able to do that in the last 90-day contract that I did. I didn't know if that had changed with the current one.
Nope, so that has not changed. So you can always DCA, so dollar cost average, you can always DCA into your contract and it will maintain your same time period. So like I actually recently, probably a month ago or something, put more into my contract on my main wallet and it keeps the same day. You just have to that's the other thing. You don't even have to pay the Kira fee anymore to do that. So
and the last thing I'll leave you with here is that I thought was amazing about the first contract that I closed was that I used my ledger to do it, so it was secure. And then whenever it executed, I didn't have to go and claim. It just automatically deposited directly onto my ledger, which was fantastic.
Yep, it does. It airdrops it right back to your wallet that you used, that you set up your contract with. And I know sometimes you can get, it's I believe it might be B-Sol sometimes that you can get, but you could swap that for SOL like right in your wallet in Phantom. If you ever do notice that. And if you ever have any questions too, like just as a general statement, feel free to come and ask in the Neo Tokyo General. Like the family members here, whether I'm there a lot. If I'm not, Vish will be. If I'm not, if they aren't, other people are, and they're extremely helpful. They will always take the time, especially if you're trying to actually learn, and just ask good questions. Like you're going to meet really good people who just want to help you understand. So that way you're comfortable and can make your moves that you want to move or want to do. Any other questions on the auto contract before I move on?
When Lambo?
Thun. What color Lambo? You know, that's the question. It's not when, it's what color.
Paint that bitch green.
I'm going bonk orange.
I told you we're gonna have to fight and see who gets the soul theme and who gets the bonk color theme. So we'll see where it goes.
Theme would be fresh.
Love it. I did, and Abby, thank you for pointing out the bridge on here. That was actually why I came to here. So I'm glad I just saw that again. Because I just wanted to speak on the bridge, since we spoke about the decks where you can buy Kira. You also have a bridge. The bridge is one of, I can speak from personal use. So before I even realized that this was even here, I had ETH when Sol was like rocketing. It goes from 20, it hit 40, and then it just took no break, 50, 60, 70. So it was like around whenever that was, like 60 or 70. I was like, okay. I think it was after a market flow or Trader Tuesday at the time. We were just saying, like, you know, what's the relative potential upside of ETH versus Solana? And like, it's like, if I have this conviction, why am I so heavy in ETH for me personally, for my own bag? And that's because I got in, you know, years ago and had my convictions in what it was and hadn't really moved a lot of it. I just am an acquirer over time. I DCA and I stack and then sell when it's high. But for me, I was like, I want to move some of my ETH into Sol. Like, what is the best way to do that? Like, just directly. I got ETH on my MetaMask. What the fuck do I do? And so, like, I knew from being on ETH, okay, well, I can go to Uniswap and use Uniswap. And so I swapped, like, just as a test run. You know, it's like if I wanted to move, let's just say 10,000 as a test run, I would do like $200 or $300 because you don't want to send something and get fucked. And you send it all. That's a tip for just crypto. Always, it sucks to pay a little more, but it sucks to lose all of your stuff even worse. So always do a test run. So I did a test run and swapped like $300 into, because when I use the Mayan, I think it's Mayan, it's like a protocol. So this protocol that we're looking at now is actually still using the framework of that protocol, but it's just on here and Sile built it. And so it's kind of like, it's slightly different, but it is using the same protocol. And I believe we're actually farming, if you use it, you're potentially eligible for the wormhole drop that's coming. So that's interesting also. But back to the story, I swapped $300 using Uniswap with my MetaMask. And as if you don't know, now you know, ETH gas is horrible. Even now, it's not even in the bull market. And I spent probably, a fifth in a fee just to swap that money into USDC. Because when I went to look at Mayan to bridge, which I know this is getting a little bit in the weeds, but just stick with me, top level, I went to the protocol to then move my ETH into Sol. I had to swap it to USDC on ETH because that protocol wouldn't let me do just straight ETH. So I lost fees on ETH, swapped to USDC. Then I paid ETH fee to actually commence the trade. So when I wanted to go from ETH USDC to Sol USDC, you had to pay the ETH fee again. And so I'm paying double. I'm double dipping on the fees.
That sounds painful.
And you're just sitting there like, what the fuck am I even doing? And I'm just like losing money, just burning it. And not the funny way. I'm just sitting there, my money's burning. And then so I'm glad I did a test run. I remember I came into the chat and Charge was in the chat, and I was like, bro, this shit is fucked. This is not the future of like all the stuff, the reasons why I left ETH for this type of stuff. I think ETH has its place. It's just not used for things like this. And then he was like, oh, we have a bridge. I was like, of course you do. And so then I went and looked. Sure enough, you know what step has been removed with this DEX? You could just go straight ETH to Sol. No swap of USDC. So I would not have had to swap to USDC and pay the ETH fee. It does it just straight ETH to Sol. And that is props to Sile for building it like that. I learned firsthand yet again that just another reason why he's the GOAT. It just removed more friction, more money loss. And it was probably 20 minutes because it's on ETH. It was like around 20 minutes I had Sol deposited right into my wallet. And so I just wanted to point out that there is a bridge. If you do have ETH and you are interested and you don't want to go through a centralized exchange, which is like, not your keys, not your crypto. If you don't own your seed phrase, they own it. It's a SEX, so a centralized exchange like Coinbase. If you don't have your keys, they own your crypto. There is benefits to it. I'm not saying it's all bad, but at the end of the day, if there's a bank run on anything and you don't own the assets, well, good luck. So if you don't want to swap your ETH, for example, for Sol on there, you can literally send your ETH to Phantom, which Phantom now displays ETH and Bitcoin, and others. And literally out of Phantom, connect your wallet and choose how much ETH you want to do and swap straight to Sol. And within 20 minutes, you have Sol. So shout out to Sile, the GOAT, for making that, because I'm glad that I did the test run, and shout out to Charge again for letting me know about the bridge on here. But I did want to point that out because that is frogs indeed fuck. And Sile is, he's a fucking builder, man. And we say it a lot in the space, like, support builders, and you buy a Cyberfrog, you're supporting a real fucking builder, a group of builders. So that is the bridge, that is the auto contract. And then this might get a little hairy because I might need to generate let me just request this token. Oh. And like I said, for specifics of Thor, of manual Thor and auto Thor, definitely check out the market flow with Mode or the decoding with Dregs. And that is, if you can't remember the times, you can always scroll up on the Discord, which I can show you. Scroll up on the Discord all the way to the top. There's events. So you click events, and then here's all the events that are coming up. So you can go in, you can actually click it. You can click join for this one, which I think that'll just make you join the VC, but you can be interested in it where it can ping you. You can set up pings so you don't miss the stuff. I think, where is the Monday? Okay, so it's just a Monday because it's just the event. But, there we go. So modes tomorrow, market flow, 7 p.m. Don't miss it. If you do, you're missing out so much. It's crazy. Same thing for the Thursday at 10 a.m. Because he's hitting 2 different time zones, because one of the things is, at 7 p.m., not everybody's Abby, the GOAT, who can be up at 4 a.m. his time and make it to market flow.
The trend is my friend until the end.
I'm in. But for real, so now you have this 10 a.m. slot to hit the other end of the world as well with market flow, which is props to you, Mode, again. I can only imagine how much time that you put in. We feel your passion. We're so lucky to have you, giving us this type of knowledge and being how approachable you are. Seriously. Same with Dregs. Dregs had made me, and him and like Poppy and Young, and they were talking and giving me just different perspectives. I find there's power in perspective as long as you allow your ego to be dropped to then listen to the perspectives, right? So it's like, it may not even be your strategy of trading, but you listen to how their minds work, how they're looking at it, and then take pieces and apply it to your skill set. If they don't apply, just take it as knowledge. You know, that's how I view it. So, and then you got fight for your faction. Oh shit, that looks okay. Undervalued. Yeah, we got a little bit brawl action. But anyway, so I just wanted to show, if you don't know what's going on, because there's a lot, click the events right there and you can find them that way. So let me see if I can figure this out with generating this code now that I'm. I guess I should say this too, because if you're not doing it. So what I just did there, if this is your first time of going into manual Thor, you need to request an access token. And what it does is that you saw me sign my wallet, and then it gives you this code. So if you click it, now it's copied. What I would recommend, which you don't have to, but I put it in like, I have like a notepad of stuff. You could put it in a notepad and just say, this is your request token in case you ever lose it. You could always generate another one. But what you can do is you click it and it copies. So then you put it here and you paste it and you log in. So my computer will ask me, this is what I actually did. I'm not going to save it here, but you can save it where it just remembers it. So I don't ever have to generate another one, which is kind of nice. I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to go through super specifics on this, just more of like the user interface understanding, as Mode and Dregs will go further into detail on how to actually understand and navigate your manual Thor calls, because this is like, I have auto Thor for the accrual, and I get to live and I get to do my own stuff, and it's making trades for me. I have manual Thor to then take what I'm learning from market flow with Mode and decoding with Dregs, apply my technical analysis skills to trading and charts. And then once I think I have my feelings set, like, I've drawn my lines, I've seen what I think is going to happen, then I go and I actually look at what Thor is calling, which, by the way, I don't know if y'all saw, but look at those fucking 1-day calls on Sol. Sheesh.
Yeah, I'm waiting for it. Please give.
Yeah, so there's a lot 30. Of do what?
What's it calling at 29.30?
Yeah, 33.3 to 29.80 and 49.38 to 46.30.
Yeah, can't wait.
Let's go.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see. And I mean, if it goes above 152.65, it becomes invalid. So we're gonna see. Right now, I think what we're at, probably 149 or something would be my guess. Yeah, like 148.60. So, but to learn how to navigate and understand all these pieces and what RM and all this means, definitely check out the market flow with Mode. He'll walk through that, and you'll have a much better understanding. There is the verification that I just wanted to touch on. So when you're looking in the normal chat for General Neo Tokyo, you can do !verify with no space, and that will give you the rules of what you need to do to actually get your holder role within the Discord. That will give you your verifrogged role. If you have 1 frog or less than 5 count, you'll have your verifrogged role in the actual Discord, and you'll have, your name color will change and other people will see you on a frog and all that. But it will give you in that command, the !verify, that there's a video that shows you the steps of what you need to do to actually get your holder roll. And one of those is this Discord button. So you see Discord, but if you're going to be doing the verification, just follow that video. You will figure it out. If you don't, ask a question in Neo Tokyo and someone will most likely hit you with a command step 4, because that's where most people forget to select their actual role in the top left of Discord. But it's all explained in the actual command itself. So if you get overwhelmed, definitely ask the question. The other thing is Xverse. So Xverse is the hot wallet for Bitcoin. That's the one I personally used for the Thordinals. So Thordinals are your Bitcoin frogs. So we have Solana Cyber Frogs, right? That's Solana. And then you have Thordinals, which you can look at on Magic Eden. If you go on Magic Eden and click the, might as well just do it while I'm saying it. Magic Eden. And then there's these buttons in the top left. So there's Solana, then there's Bitcoin. So you click Bitcoin and then type in Thordinals. And so Thordinals, and you'll see this art fucks. I mean, it is just some of the best art. I've always loved how these look. And that's where you can go and you can acquire your Bitcoin froggies for the AutoThor Bitcoin contract that is inevitably coming, which we don't have a time frame. But when that comes, I mean, give me a better utility than an asset that acquires you more Bitcoin with the Bitcoin that you own. It's okay, I'll wait. There isn't in NFTs. Like, if you're really in crypto and don't truly understand, which could be fun to go and delve more into on, another Monday, is, Bitcoin and just the basic premise and understanding. I know people have basic understandings, but it reaches so much further than just what it was initially designed for. And so to have an asset that's going to be able to take Bitcoin and get you more Bitcoin with your Bitcoin is just insane. And the fact that there's only 1,200 and the art looks like this, it's not financial advice. Do your own research. Definitely check these out.
Frogs fuck.
Swept three last night.
Oh, let's go. You got to be getting close to your big
Abby.
count, right?
Yo, hi. Yeah, I want, I have 8 right now.
Oh, shit. He's going to be a Sat King incoming. That crown on yours is you're going to actually be Sat King. Sheesh.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Let's go.
So I just wanted to show, how you would navigate to seeing the actual Thordinals on Magic Eden. They're exclusively on Magic Eden, I believe. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. But I think that's the place that you can find them. So you'll just click that Bitcoin yet again in the top left, and then just search Thordinals, and you'll find them there. So then Manual Thor. So that's what I wanted. I was just going through these little icons, so you kind of understand is the B verse. So that's what you would use to connect your actual wallet when you want to get your Thordinal rolls in the Discord. Which, by the way, preface that with saying, if you buy a Thordinal and you want to get your Thordinal roll, because trust me, I want it to show up just as much as you do. Bitcoin is slow because we're spoiled on Sol, so it takes a little more time for it to register that you own that, and then it will update. So sometimes when you buy a Thordinal, it will take a little longer for it to register, and that's why. Because we're spoiled as fuck on Sol. Time. Yeah.
I make transactions through Xverse, and then I'm like, where's my Bitcoin?
Yeah. Or like today, I minted a ordinal and just forgot how, spoiled we are being on Solana and how cheap it is and how, you bought it and boom, it's right there in your wallet, So we don't realize how how lucky we are that we are in Sol for where Sol is and the way that we all like to interact with the blockchain. So there's a Telegram group also. So I believe the exclamation mark is Tgram. Yeah, so Tgram, TGRAM, no space, in the Neo Tokyo. And that will give you all the instructions that you need to sign up and get put into the Telegram group. So that way you can get pings when certain calls are triggering, which can be a benefit depending on your trade style. Then you have, what is this? Thor stocks. So there's stocks. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to look at this actually, since I don't. I think this is. Oh, I can. Okay, I haven't explored the stocks too much myself because I feel like it was walled, like a certain level of it is walled behind a certain fraud count. Okay, yeah, thanks, Maz. Just to say it in the video as well. If someone's watching this back, if you ever want to see what all the commands are, you can do !list. Don't spam that shit because it's going to be an explosion. But just saying, you can see what all the commands are because there's some fun ones. Hype, which just says hype sometimes, or you got the like AK frog or whatever is, or hashtag 4 frogs for life. There's some great ones. And lemon, but I love the floor and the FUD one personally. Like FUD, where the fuck is my board game? And floor your frogs because no board game. All right, so let me see. Let me go back to the actual Thor. Oh, yeah. See, I didn't save it because I was just doing it for this one time. So then you got to generate another one instead of, because I didn't save it. I don't want it to save over my other one on my main wallet, which is why I'm not saving it. But you can see down here, even while it's loading, the access tiers, holder 1 plus, you get your 2 pairs with your Thor 15% instead of 20%. So you get Jupe and Soul for the pairs. 5, you get Ada, Bonk, Gecko, Injective, Jupe, Pith, and Soul. So you get 7 pairs at 13%. And like I said, that is in the command of the tier, TIER. And if you want to look at the Thor tier, there's a T tier. So you just add a T in front of tier. And that will show you the tiers for the Thordinals as well. Let me see. Wait, -1. Hold on. What else can I hit on while I'm waiting for this? Let me see. Does anybody have any questions while I'm looking up something? I know most of you have been here for a while, but this one's mainly too for anybody who's relatively new, or if you're watching the video back, like I said, feel free to jump into the chat and ask any questions because there's always people who are here to help you understand a little better. If I buy my friend Beth a frog, can we have a beginner session where she and I try and figure out how to do manual calls? Yeah, of course. Yeah, K10. I mean, anytime you want to do anything like that, like it doesn't have to be of some formal Monday in the Cyber Dojo. It could be whenever. So if you just ping me, if you have some friends or whatever, or even if it's just you, I could even, if I could align with Mode too to explain as well, like I guess I can give you my perspective and then he can give you his. He knows a little more on Thor and how to navigate it. I'm definitely learning, but I am anytime I'll always help explain things the best that I can. So anytime.
Yeah, we can do that on any of the streams, or if you or your friend aren't comfortable in a stream, we could just do it in our own chat or whatever else. But yeah,
we used to stream together, and that's why I thought it might be helpful because she and I have a great dynamic. You guys have a great dynamic, and if it were more of like a question and answer session, and let's face it, just because we're girls, I hate to say this, but it's just a bit more friendly if to people where we're not like, hee hee, I don't understand. We're both crypto natives at this point, but it might be just kind of a nice little flow if we were just like guest speakers. And I'd really like to get her in on this because she's a very good friend of mine from way back. And you can look her up. She's fantastic. And I think that would be kind of cool to have a bit of a back and forth where it might be like, okay, let's do this. And then, okay, how do you do this? What is the value here? How does it work? It could be kind of fun, just very relaxed, no pressure, nothing. I think it would be kind of cool. I'm gonna ask her if she's down, and we'll see, how it goes. Or I'm also I don't have the confidence to do the manual trading alone. I've been listening, trying to glean and absorb as much as I possibly can, but I just don't have that confidence to take that next step and use the Thor manual trading calls on my own. I know you guys are the most supportive folks in like unbelievable, best fucking community in the world, honestly. But you do feel a little stupid, regardless of how kind you guys are. Being like, okay, so how does it work? And no matter how much you listen to Mode,
I totally get it.
I'm very much self-taught. And a lot of the things that I know, I wish I had someone to teach me. So that's why I am so open to trying to teach those what I know, what I can. But yeah, we can do it any way you want. Just let her know we're not being a bunch of weirdos when you hear people randomly put things in that say frogs fuck and shit like that. That's just the vibe.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great idea.
I love it. I want to see it, and I can confirm this is awesome.
That's awesome because I think that's a good idea too because it's like a real representation of someone like walking through it. Like, oh, well, then what's the value of that? How do I do and it makes it almost like a step through for people who are watching who may not be comfortable enough to ask to begin with, like you're saying.
Right. And both she and I are really good at we ask intelligent questions that normal folks would want to know without sounding ditzy or dumb or,
that would be one of the last words I'd use to describe you. So,
Thanks for 50. But like Abby knows what I'm talking about. Beth is an old friend of both of ours. So just thinking about that, I think your stream was fantastic. I was glued to every word, and your voice is extremely soothing, which is great. I love it. And I'm just thinking and brainstorming of more ways to bring people into the knowledge that is the Cyberfrogs community. I mean,
love it.
It's just unbelievable.
Reach out. We can brainstorm together. It's the power of like perspective and different opinions and all that.
So I apologize for like busting in and being like,
never.
What if me and my friend?
No,
sorry.
Never. No, don't be sorry at all. Yeah.
I just want it to be like as great as possible. Not that I'm
for sure. I love it. I love the passion behind it too. Like, because you just want people to feel. At least how for me, I want people to feel like how I felt when I came in, but better, so it's like we can always improve. We can work together to help remove friction and show things in a streamlined manner, right? Where it isn't quite so overwhelming because the frogs have done some crazy shit. And like when you come in and look at it all, it can be very overwhelming. But then when it's laid out in a story, or like in digestible sections, then it starts to it's like, how long can you deny that like 1 + 1 is 2 and then 2 plus it's just like math. You're like, oh, well, they started with this and they're here and they have these people and they're doing this. It's like, it becomes obvious.
Exactly. And in addition to the extraordinarily robust technological things that cyberfrogs have, that like Thor is fucking insane. The community, when I first came in, was extraordinarily welcoming. You mentioned tips, a few like way back in this stream. That was so nice. It was
ridiculous the difference between the Cyberfrogs community and other. I'm in plenty of Discord servers, and it's absolutely insane. And the not just the actual real world capabilities and applicability of Auto Thor and Thor's calls. The team gives a shit, which is extremely important to me, is ethical, which is extremely important to me, and the community truly reflects that. And that's why I'm like, hey, let me bring my other girl in. Let's talk about this. Let's see what we can do. I want her to experience this just as another crypto person. But also thinking about how do we make this bigger? And let's talk to everyone. Rumpty, you're a fantastic host. I would love to just be, I loved being in your space, and I think maybe bring it to Twitter, maybe talk further as you guys are comfortable. But I don't want to dilute what we have, but a judicious expansion is, I think, where we need to go. Or where, and you guys know, or I don't know, you guys don't know, but I have also mused on where Auto Thor could go if we actually became market makers, because we commanded enough capital. But I love it, and I'm just here to support you guys in any way possible. And thank you for letting me talk, and thank you for holding this stream. And Rumpty, I love you. You know that.
I love you. I appreciate you, K10. As always, your perspectives, everything, and I like how we can actually like debate. And that's been demonized in today's time. Not just it's a through healthy debating with respect being held, both parties prosper, and that's how I view it. And so I always appreciate your perspectives and your points that you point out, and I agree with you completely that we need to blow this shit out, because the team is doing crazy things. And then to be able to galvanize the community with different days like we're doing, and foster those relationships, because that's really what gives holding an NFT, other than I have this thing that's literally printing me money while I sleep. You're creating, relationships that are going to last longer than some of the relationships you've met people in your real life with people in here. And I'm saying that from experience.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree. And this might be a bit of a hot take, but as we see the meme coin meta gaining more and more traction as we go into this bull run, I think that we're going to see a lot of communities, quote unquote, NFT communities, suffer from, like, they're going to really have to look inward and say, what is our community and what value do we provide for the community? And this is a necessary process, but it's also heartbreaking because there's so many good NFT communities out there. The Cyberfrogs, to me, because its foundation is what Sile and Andy have built out of the D-Reg with Thor, is so strong. It really sets Cyberfrogs apart.
Yes.
And it's gonna, as we as we move forward through the shifting sands of what is going to be this bull run and how it treats NFTs and meme coins and stables and Bitcoin, I think that projects like Cyberfrogs are really going to come into prominence because of just how strong they are. But I mean that like I said, it's just a hot take. It's just my opinion on that one.
I totally agree. I totally agree, because it's the ones that don't have that foundation. They were built on ground that isn't solidified, and that ground is changing, forever changing. This is Web3. 1 month is a year. So much changes. So it's fast paced. And if you aren't built on top of something with real value, like you're going to get shaken. Your project will get shaken, and that shake is exactly what you're talking about. Like, what are we? Like, who are we? And plant the flag. Frogs know what the fuck they are because they have the foundation. And then to your point, now you have where we start galvanizing the community with events, with things we bring together, and we realize and you meet people. Like I talk with Abby at the end of every market flow on Tuesday for like 4 or 5 hours at minimum after that is done, just because I appreciate him, his perspectives, hearing about someone else from around the world. And it's those connections that really bring another reason of like, look, I'm not selling my fucking frogs because my homies are in there and it has Thor.
Absolutely. And Abby, just by the way, is like one of my favorite people in Web3. He and I go way back and I love him. But you're right. I would never have met him had it not been for Web3. So yes, it does add that additional layer, or perhaps I'm denigrating it by saying additional layer. Perhaps it is a foundational layer when we think about who we meet and the relationships and networking that we forge when we talk to people like Abby, who quite frankly should be in bed at this point.
Yes.
I love you all.
I would be in bed if it was me, so.
But
Abby's the G, dude.
He's the GOAT, man.
Dude, it's like, but that is part of the, like, besides, well, okay, everybody's here for their own reasons. Mine, the decentralization aspect of it, I'm extremely passionate and fierce about. The global aspect of it, where I get to talk to folks from any time zone, is a huge aspect of it. We're all here to make money too. And those commonalities, that's what, to me, like, I feel like more of this. Let's find more of this. You have an internet connection and a couple bucks, or you don't even have to have a couple bucks to be in the CyberFrogs Discord. You can just talk to the rest of us, and we're going to try to figure out how to make money, how to fight in whatever way that we feel is appropriate. That is the beauty, and that is the magic. And you can't have it if you don't have a really solid team and a really solid Discord that allows for that community. And the fact that it's based on this insanity, this algorithm, is just it's mind-blowing to me.
Yep.
I guess
it's
so,
like what stops us, you know? If you galvanize the community, like as an NFT project with a real foundation, I'm talking real, like a money fucking printer that is it's on Sol, to think that that's not going to go to other options, you know? Like, of course it is in time. And it's just that foundation. And then if you start galvanizing the community around something like that, when it already is the way that it is without any attempts like that, yeah, you create relationships that do last a lifetime. And whether you stay in frogs or not, or however it plays out, like you meet those people, like I'll probably always talk with Abby now, and that's, talk about impact, talk about value. Value is not always money. There's a lot of value to be had in creating those relationships. And like Fihu, I've had discussions with Fihu I haven't even talked to him like so long, but just the conversations with him have already given me perspectives that I would have never thought of. And what you were mentioning, K10, one of the secret, benefits of Web3 is being able to get perspective without traveling. Like, you don't have to travel because you can get perspective by listening to people all around the world through a single interest of this world.
Exactly. And it is extraordinarily valuable because it is perspective that is unfiltered by any mainstream media. It is you talking to another person who lives in another country about their economic policy, their political policy, how they feel about whoever leads it, what their daily life is.
Yep.
The value in connecting with people across the globe with no filter is extraordinary to me. It's
Agreed.
extraordinarily beautiful. Because that allows me to use my analytical faculties, right? I'm not going to take everyone I meet on Web3
Of course.
as gospel, of course. But what I'm getting is an unfiltered, true person-to-person perspective. And I can ask somebody, hey, how much is a piece of bread, or how much does a loaf of bread cost? How do you feel about that guy who's been in power for 25 years? Is that real, or what's up? What's going on?
Exactly.
It's extraordinary. And it's to me, it's part of the power of decentralization, because if we truly think about decentralization from a power standpoint, what we're experiencing in Web3 is a manifestation of that. It is the natural outgrowth of people talking to each other and thinking, maybe if everything wasn't so centralized, like media, like government, this, like, how would this work? I'm sorry, I'm
No.
babbling at this point. Sorry.
No,
I'm
it's
just
all
so
valid.
about this
No,
shit.
not babbling at all.
Yeah, you're not, and you're speaking the truth, and because that's exactly why this foundational concept of decentralization has gained strength, because the ones in centralization is not the bad part. It's the people at the top over the button that's the problem. It's not that there's a button. It's the person that controls the button that then plays to what they want, versus a system
I would say that it's the idea that there is a person who controls the button.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And that can be misused, right?
It will say, like, I know what you should think. I know how you should live. I know better than you because I'm more educated, I'm more experienced, I have more money, whatever it is. And
Whatever
I'm such a
stipulation.
firm believer in the sovereignty of the individual. And to me, what Web3 is doing in all its, good God, fucked up forms is limping towards more sovereignty for the individual to make their own choices. And that's when I meet I actually met Abby at Breakpoint Amsterdam in person, but we had been talking for like a year and a half. And you, Rumpty, I hope to meet you in person someday.
I'm sure we will.
I think so. I think so. Why not? Why the fuck not?
Yeah, why not?
And let's, but in the meantime, we have this, like, this precious, it's not a gift, it's this thing that people are forging with their blood, sweat, and tears. And people are manipulating, and people are fucking up, and like within, without, but we still have it. And it's so powerful. I don't know. This is the idealist coming out of me saying, I really think it could potentially triumph. I really do.
I do think I think it's going to. It's hard to see the forest for the trees around us, and just when the whole system is especially controlled by entities that are directly going to get disrupted by systems that are coming up from a different foundation,
Oh yeah, and they're so powerful. They're so powerful. The governments of the world and the, oh goodness, the financial powers that be are incredibly powerful, and they're going to be they're like, look at it, right? You think that they want people making their own choices? Of course they fucking don't. You think they want people believing in freedom and believing in the sovereignty of the individual to make their own choices for their own selves and their own families? Of course they don't. Yes, like that's why I say, I mean, I think it's incredible. It's idealistic, but what we're doing right now is part of a fight. Is this going to end up in some sort of science fiction? I mean, I'm not saying it won't. I'm not saying that people don't hope for that, but
Terminator training NFTs that are frogs fucking each other. Wait, hold on. What?
Let's not get AI involved. Good grief.
Yeah, it is. And that's where I'll definitely like K10, like I'm gonna be doing because like the first Monday I'm doing kind of like how I'm doing here, where it's like, and we can talk where it's like removing the friction of new frogs coming in, or even people who've been here. Like I've had people hit my DMs on Twitter after I would post my upgrade to my bazooka, and they've been frog holders for a while, and they're like, wait, how did you do that? And it's like, so I think it's beneficial to have these, especially with the time crunch of coming with faction trading and all of that going away. So just as a walkthrough where it's now, recorded, people will be able to watch it, you'll be able to reference it. I know it's long, and there's also some other tidbits, but you get a walkthrough. Because I'm a visual person, I learn much quicker when I have a visual versus I get a wall of text, which, don't get me wrong, I'll sit and read it because I'm going to do my own research, but getting a video where I can actually follow it, like how you gave the example of having your friend come and stepping through it and asking the questions while you're doing it, because that's what most people are going to be thinking while they're doing it. It's the exact stuff that you'll be thinking while you're doing it. But other Mondays we could talk like sex versus Dex or anything. This is not just like I'm not like bestowing information here. This is more of like everyone is a student within the Cyber Dojo sort of mentality. It's like I'm just the one that has the name on it, but we're all here to learn. I try and learn from anyone and can learn from anyone as long as you allow yourself to.
Oh no, I thought it was Emperor Rumpty tells us all how it is.
Emperor Rumpty, centralization button, get the fuck out, or but yeah, no, so like definitely I would love for you to be there on those types of days because you have great perspectives and you're passionate about this world that is being built, and not only passionate about it, but you're like, it's like healthy skepticism, which are good questions that, I think is a lost art in today's time is, people are not healthily skeptic as much as they should be anymore. But that's where I appreciate, that you point out things and make, ask the question, and then we can all brainstorm whether it leads to anything or not. It's at least expanding people's understanding of what is coming, because I'm a process guy, so I look at things relatively simple even in complex systems. It's like ultimately you can ask yourself a few questions. Do you think humans are becoming more digitally or less as we move forward? The answer, we're becoming more. Well, how important is it to prove that you own digital things in a fully digital world? Like whether we want that full digital world or not, it's going to continue in that direction, and you're going to need to be able to prove that you own something digitally. And what that means is, because if you don't have the ability to prove that you own something digitally, everything around you can be generated infinitely, and you don't know what is real, especially in a world of AI. So it's bringing much more focus on the underlining technology of what, don't get caught up on what NFT is. That's the trigger letters. That's the trigger word. Smart contract. Learn what that is. The if this, then this, and proof of digital ownership. And what you're saying, like it delves into protecting, rights to private property. And it's infant. It's an infant right now. But learning these concepts and brainstorming all together within the Cyber Dojo is going to help everybody be more prepared for that world that is inevitably coming, in my opinion.
That is some profound shit, Rumpty, to leave us on for the end of your first episode of this. And I'm always here to bore you and propound and try to keep my passionate shit to a minimum so it's not ridiculous. I love this space. I love you. I think you're brilliant. I think what Cyberfrogs is doing is fantastic. And I think the more discussions we have about both specific concepts and general concepts, the better everybody is prepared to do battle in what we're
100%.
facing.
Because if I don't give you a shield and a sword and I just push you out into the fucking battlefield, well, good fucking luck. I'd rather tell you there's a war out there. Here's a shield. Here's a sword. Here's how you swing it. And here's how you guard your friend beside you. And then if you do that and you put that time in with everyone and we become a unit, well, how long did it take to kill the 300 fucking Spartans versus people who you just attack a village, they have no fucking clue what they're doing? It's a very different beast. And so I'm trying to do the best of my ability with my limited knowledge to help give people their shields and swords. Right.
I, for one, could do more. I could do with more of K1. Please come and bring more of that passion. That's great stuff. Don't see enough passionate people out there just letting their hearts bleed out and just kind of giving their perspectives and philosophizing, if that's a word. And this is the best place to do it. So K1, I love your passion. I love your perspectives. Your background is clearly interesting. TradFi and also this futuristic degen mixture. It's awesome stuff.
Oh, thanks. My biggest fear is to babble to the point of tiresomeness when it comes to idealism. But I do have, like, personally, I have a business in the real world, so I'm very grounded in very annoying practical things like tax law. I'm obviously I'm an American, and so I try not to speak too much. But thank you, Faye. I really appreciate it. I cannot express enough my admiration for what's going on in the Cyber Frogs. So, and to Rumpty, to Andy, to Veloci, to Boom Sally, all the folks, love it so much. And I do sincerely appreciate how welcome you all made me feel when you didn't even know who I was, if I was a real woman or just some rando like faker. I really appreciate it. And if I can talk to any of you guys or share what I think and it's even slightly helpful, I appreciate it. But yeah, I don't want to talk
we
too
appreciate
much.
you, K10. Like I said, I mean, you're loved by the community, your perspectives that you bring, your passion. Seriously.
On.
Seriously.
No,
I mean, we talked for like how many fucking hours that one day,
Yeah, that
it's
was
like
wild.
And so, but that's two
Really
passionate
bonkers.
people talking about something they're passionate about. And when you start mixing that and then people are around that and it fosters that environment where it's like, oh, we're just like exploring, essentially. It allows to it opens it takes away the pressure, right? And it allows people to feel more like, oh, I can be involved, and anyone in here can be involved no matter what. Like, do not feel like scared to add any contributions to it. You're all valuable.
Exactly. Contributions to the dialogue. And also, it's extremely hard to be fake when people can hear you. It's much harder to be fake when people can see you and hear you. It's easy to be fake when all you are doing is typing on a keyboard, and I think that's a strength. When it comes to spaces like this in the Discord, when it comes to spaces on Twitter X, whatever the fuck Elon's calling it, I think that because you can hear it in somebody's voice. And you still have to take that as a data point. Of course, you can't take it as gospel, as I referenced earlier. You have to take it with a grain of salt. But it's much more difficult for somebody to scam you unless they're like a grade A fucking, like, the Sting, Robert Redford, long con sort of guy. It's very difficult for people to scam you when you're listening to them and you can see them. And because the space is so full of assholes and scammers, I think that things like this are just another way to build up on that foundation of trust. So it's like, you don't have to just take our word for it. You can hear me, you can hear Runty, you can hear Veloci, you can hear Mode, you can hear Andy, and you can make your own decision with those data points that are more calibrated to a human, because as humans we are calibrated to look at cues, social cues, audio cues, visual cues.
We don't have that in a Discord server. We don't have that on Twitter. So when you add those additional aspects, it helps engender that layer of trust that I feel like the cyber frogs already have, but this is just going to bolster that layer of trust, or that level of trust, excuse me.
For sure. And that's, I think, one of the focuses of kind of what I'm trying to do with Cyber Dojo is have not just like a formal, like, oh, we're going to go through and we're going to show how new frogs do this. It's also this stuff, like what we're talking about now, mentalities. That's why it's a dojo. It's, you know, like, I mean, you're going to go there for growth, and growth can be viewed in many different ways, not just money. You know, like we have the other classes too, where you can go and learn how to grow your money. But this is where you can learn how to grow your mentalities, your other strengths that will then reinforce you to make more.
This is a very psychedelic
this is awesome.
space. This is a very psychedelic concept. I feel like Cyber Frogs is sort of, and I don't know who's into, you know, I assume a bunch of us are into the psychonaut world and things like that. What's that?
I said I would like to assume the majority of us.
Yeah. It feels like Cyber Frogs, the people that congregate here, that find their way through the filter, they've all passed some sort of IQ test in relation to crypto, but also I think like in their mindset and their mentality and all of this. It feels like we explore concepts at the edge of crypto. What does it mean? And not everybody cares about that. Lots of people just care about profit. But I feel like when you hear people like Rumpty and like Young and K1 and Mode, there's fucking meaning behind it. There's philosophy. There's some thought behind it. It's not just moon, when moon. So I think that's what makes it feel super special for me. You've got articulate, smart, open-minded, engaging people here. That you can't put a price on.
Yeah,
I'm just a bozo drawing lines, not financial advice. Do your own research.
Just what was it? What was it? A rat on acid, or what was it? Something like that.
No way.
But no, I totally
forget
agree
what
with
I said. So, someone else brought it up. I think, my charts looked like a rat on acid got a hold of a box of crayons or some shit. I don't remember what I said.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, when you look at that like original Trader Tuesday chart, you're like, you know what? Yeah, I see it.
For sure.
But it's the truth, Fihu. You hit the nail right on the head. It's like, you know, it's like the concept of like attracts like. And especially when you're putting in the work to then have that level of comfortability where people want to join the VC and they're creating those connections, and that only adds to that snowball of like attracts like. So then people come in and they're like, whoa, this is different. I want to be a part of this. And that's one of the things we're trying to do with the Cyber Dojo as well, is just have, because we have the trading focused spaces, and this can be more of basic 101 questions mixed in with the intros to crypto / Dex versus sex type whatever. It's like we could talk many things, and I'll have different concepts that we could talk about, and then just let the conversation flow. Like you don't have to talk. We don't have to talk about this, but it's like have them lined up so we have whatever we're going in on, as well as throwing in some things where, like next week, one of my main focuses of this, instead of showing a walkthrough, is going to be learning. Now, I'm not telling you how to or what to tweet, because what you tweet is the organicness of what people are drawn to. Like you wanted to say whatever you wanted to say in your tweet. I'm going to show you how to say it. When you understand the how, not what you're saying, like plugging in hashtags, not overdoing hashtags, not understanding placement of characters and how it interacts with the algorithm to then push further on Twitter. That's a skill that you're going to want, not just for going and pushing your cyber frogs to get it out there, but just for as the world moves in a more digital space, you yet again are being equipped with another skill. right? And understanding how to tweet, not what to tweet. I want you to tweet what you want, but how to tweet, how to think about using hashtags, using ats, don't over it. And I'm going to be looking more, so I'm teaching myself as well. Like I said, this is a dojo where everybody's a student. There is no leader. And with that, like when you start mixing things like that, because then you're building your own individual brand, which in turn helps frogs because you have a bigger reach, right? It plays in with the system, and everybody is going to benefit from something like that. Whether you stay in frogs or not, that skill will always stay with you. And that's one of the things like Fihu is talking about, or, maybe not directly, but like indirectly, is like the things I've talked with people in this chat about have impacted how I think about for the rest of my life. And that is a super strong indicator that I'm in the right place for me. And other people.
That's exactly what I'm saying, right? You can't, how do you explain that in a floor price, right? Of an NFT.
You fucking can't, bro.
You can't, bro. It doesn't fucking materialize, right? Yeah. Like, and like you said, right? Like community, community. It's the most played out, stale lie that there is in the space. But when you do nail it, when you do find it, when it is real, like Cyber Frogs, like you said, it actually fundamentally kind of alters or changes the way you see things forever in some ways.
Yeah, no, 100%. Because it's like the word I use is cringe. Like when you hear community, it makes you cringe because you've heard it so much. It's like, oh yeah, sure. But that concept, when done right, built on a foundation of something that has real value, all encompassed under a community that rides and dies for that, with a team that is ride or die for creating for that said community and being a part of it. That's what this shit is about. And the ones that do that, which there are some other things to add in there, but those are some of the main features. When you do that and you do that successfully, and people are going to be selling internet pictures for money that people will never understand the value of. And that's because they're going to hit all of those things. We are looking at the digitalization of human culture. You're looking at being able to prove that you own something digitally for the first time ever, truly on a public ledger. Like what that allows for is so revolutionary. And that's why Cyber Dojo is going to be fun as fuck. And we're going to be talking about some crazy shit. And so if you ever want to just come and shoot the shit or just listen or like learn about concepts, or hell, like I think I might start like a thing where people can just put concepts in that they want me to like look at, or what we can talk about. And I can put them in a list where then we can just like go through them. If it sparks a conversation, then we'll just go down the rabbit hole.
Safety.
Hell yeah, yo.
Like keeping yourself safety, keeping your shit safe. The difference between cold, warm, and hot wallet.
I'm writing them down. Keep going.
Because, well, I mean, like we don't need to be necessarily the dojo that changed the world, but we could be the dojo that changed the world. And when we talk about all of these different things in this particular manner, which is welcoming and open, this is very, very decentralized. It's fantastic. And we want folks to be part of it, right? We do. We want other folks to be a part of this. And we know, those of us who've been around know the pitfalls, the scams, the many, many ways that folks can get screwed. So I would say, Arumti, if we just as a thought, perhaps doing something on safety, basic safety, because a lot of people are very scared to ask about that too. Like I got a cold wallet as a gift, and it was like 5 months before I set it up because I was so fucking afraid that I was going to fuck it up. And I didn't have anybody that I could trust in the crypto space to just be like, hey, all right, whatever, take it easy. Like, just here's how it works. Because you just never know if that person is like trying to scam you. So you never know.
You can trust me. Just click the link.
Just trust me, bro.
Just click the link. What should happen, right?
Click the link from Abby.69 in Discord, like.
Yeah, why didn't I trust him at first? Gosh.
But no, that is great. Like that's what I'm saying. It's like, because if I can make the medium, or like the not even the medium, the funnel at which people can then put in and be like, hey, I would like, this would be great. Like that is that's like more than a day is Web3 safety. Like, and the thoughts behind, like, yes, there are general basic concepts of Web3 safety. Don't click a link, but there's way more as you go further in depth as well that we could talk about. So it's that's a great example, and I wrote it down.
Imagine the bull run, when all the pre-normies, who are not exposed. I mean, shit, it was only just a few years that I was in that position, So I believe that it's a great idea to incorporate this type of education to the new folks that will be inevitably seeing cyber frogs.
Yep.
Joining the discords, so yeah,
agreed.
Great idea.
I agree. Yeah, and that's one of the best like topics, because I mean, it's kind of like, I work for a biotech company. Number one, everywhere, most of the time, should always be safety. Number one, you come to work, you leave work the same that you came in, if not better than the same. That is number one. And so safety, number one, understanding, the person that hits you up and is going to give you something, like, you're not getting shit for free in this space. Airdrops. There's an asterisk there. But if you treat it the same as, no, I didn't do shit, why would I get this for free? Don't click it, because I have a saying, it's better to miss out than lose your ass. So don't fall for the pressure, right? And it's like all these things that we could talk about in links in one of the episodes. So I appreciate that that idea, K10. That's a great one.
Yeah, and it's, what I think would be, or what is the genesis of this, is the fact that I feel comfortable coming up and talking, the fact that maybe some other people might feel comfortable coming up and talking, asking questions. If you can foster and nurture an environment where people feel comfortable asking questions, then you're not just giving a lecture on security, you're actually enabling people. And we know, we're these folk, right? We're the Web3 folk. We're the computer folk.
You're the pioneers.
We're coming out of the shadows, and some of us are not the most. Sorry, I'm in my sister's house, and it's like this weird McMansion echo. Some of us are not always so comfortable asking questions, but if you can, regardless of what topics you propose to discuss, if you can foster an environment of welcoming, which CyberFrogs has already done, if you bring that really, really skillfully into these sessions, then the sky is the limit of who you can reach and who you can help. Because these can be very, very intimidating to people. And I hate it, but it's the reality. It's reality. People fucking hate speaking. Some of us are just drunk or don't care, or like me, both. And I have a lot of sympathy for folks, or empathy, whatever. So if you can just be like, hey, no one gives a shit, fucking come up and ask your question. We don't care if it's like, especially our folks who don't speak English as a native language. And God bless them for speaking English with us. We really appreciate it, y'all. Like, it's so sweet of you guys who don't speak English as a native language to come in and talk with us. So, but that first, right, which I think you've nailed, just that atmosphere of welcoming is the first step. And once you get people comfortable and asking questions, and the panelists or your co-hosts or yourself just fucking shooting the shit and talking about it, sticking to a plan, but flexible, man, that's amazing. That's a great way to go about things. And I think it's the best way to help everyone.
Yeah, and that is what you just said. That is like literally my idea, my goal for what I would like Cyber Dojo to be. Is exactly that. Have the space, have it where you can come in. Yes, it's intimidating to, unmute, especially if it's your first time. I remember I did that. I talked, and it was the first time I was in a Discord NFT project, and I heard Mode talking, and I talked on the first one. That's actually where I heard him the first time. That was fucking years ago.
Man, that's
now.
rough. Mode's like if like the Big Lebowski and Ronald Reagan had a kid. Like Mode is amazing in his verbal skills.
Yep.
That's intimidating. Not gonna lie.
Well, and like I've always appreciated a thing I've always appreciated about Mode is like when he says what he means and he means what he fucking says. And you don't meet a lot of people like that anymore in today's time. And so people are drawn to him because of his level of authenticity that he does. And that's one of the things that got me hooked from like just hearing him say that, I think it was in Rogue Sharks back in the day. But it's just, and I'm trying to learn what I can from him and how he approaches things, he's like, he can be intimidating, but it's this weird mixture of like, you don't feel stupid to ask. So it's like, he can be intimidating, but you can ask. And so like there's an art there to it. And so that's what I'm trying to hit with the Cyber Dojo is it's just an open forum where we can all come together because none of us know shit. We do know shit, but we can come and learn together and know more shit together. So that's really what it is. And that was my goal behind, the obvious things where removing the friction for new people. I'm going to show them the tabs and I'm going to walk through it and say it, and then we can shoot the shit for however long or whatever, But the other weeks, there will be, like I said, the example of the Twitter algorithm understanding. Just do that and maybe do like some group type of tweet or something and then push and see how that works at the end of it. And just do a little trial and error runs on that sort of stuff and hone your skills even further while I'm honing mine to then continue to look further into things to then continue honing our skills. So it's a positive feedback loop that I'm really trying to start and get going because, it's always hardest to start the chemical reaction. But once it's started and your catalyst is over, it's like the roller coaster going, So I'm just trying to get it started, and they've already got a fantastic start here. And we've got one hell of a community. And the more that we can provide those types of spaces and that freedom, it's only the bigger that this shit is going to get. And because you're providing real value. Value is, yet again, I'll say it again, value is not just money. Value can be, it's just in the eyes of whoever's determining what's valuable. And to me, I value all of your perspectives that I get in here. And especially like talking with, you gave the example of Abby. He's from somewhere else that I just think, I get pigeonholed into thinking, oh, the US, this, that. And then Abby's like, well, no, that's not how it is here. And I'm like, oh, really? And that shatters your world of being like, oh, that's how it is. No, it's not. That's how it is here. And that is one of the powers of crypto as well. Web3 is you just meet people all over the world and can share. And as long as it's a safe space, like how we're going to make this be, to your point, K10, people, once they break that barrier and you break the ice off, then they can be themselves and let their strengths show through, where it's not like awkward because I'm just trying it for the first time. I don't know how to say it. Well, no, after you do it 3 times, then you can start really being like you, playing your strengths, adding your input. And that's where I would love to get to with the Cyber Dojo. So
I think, and you're knocking it out of the park, honey. I'm so proud of you. And I'm so proud of the Cyber Frogs for this platform. Thanks for letting me speak, and I completely agree with you. There's so much perspective and value to be had by dialogue that just cannot be communicated in text, in my opinion. And so anything that can be done to make folks feel a little bit more comfortable about expressing themselves, regardless of whether or not their English is perfect, regardless of whether their diction or public speaking skills are tops. Nobody gives a shit. We're here because we love ideas. And I think that the Cyber Frogs have demonstrated that. I think that Rumpty has demonstrated that tonight. And yeah, Rumpty, I'm proud of you. I think this was amazing. Thank you so much.
Rinder.
I appreciate it. I appreciate all you guys and ladies coming in, spending your time with me in the old crypto or cyber dojo. This is going to be a reoccurring thing. I'm going to be aiming for every Monday at 7 p.m. Different, hopefully it'll have like a little excerpt on what we'll be trying to do. But then it'll be kind of how this ended, where it's just like an open space where we can all just shoot the shit, learn together, talk about whatever, that's really what I'm aiming for here. So I appreciate all of you peeps coming by. I think this has been a super successful first Cyber Dojo, so I'm looking forward to many more.
Right on.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, Rumpty. You're a fucking check,
Yeah,
bro.
appreciate you. Nice.
Oh, of course, homies.
Session.
Anytime. And if any of you ever need me or want to talk or have some brainstorming stuff, together we are strong. Separated, if we want to go far, we go together. If you want to go quick, I can go by myself.